As a growing musician, it's natural to start asking certain questions. Where does music come from? What's it made out of? Can I borrow a guitar pick? I'm here to help. Welcome to Music Fundamentals with Mr. Joe. As I discussed in the previous video in this series, our perception of music comes from the distance between notes more than the notes themselves. If you learn the names of these distances and train your ear to recognize them, it will improve your playing, improvising, composing, and overall understanding of music. Let's put music under a microscope for a moment. The smallest distances in Western music are half steps and whole steps. Wait, what's this? If you said a biscuit, you might prefer the terms semitones and tones for these musical molecules. Half steps would be a guitar fret to the next closest guitar fret, or a key on the piano to the next closest key. If you put two half steps together, you get a whole step. You can stack these different steps together to build scales, larger intervals, or chords. It's like a musical ruler. If the distance between two pitches is not a step, you would call it a skip. The category of skips is massive. This is a skip, and this is a skip, and so is every other note that's not a step. There are unique names for all of these larger intervals, but we will talk about them when you're older. I'm not the say a bunch of interesting facts that you'll forget tomorrow guy. I'm the give you practice resources that will make a noticeable difference in your musicianship guy. The next 6 exercises can and should be played and repeated until they are mastered. Let me quickly point out that I have 100 more similar exercises available as a one-time purchase on Patreon. Okay, let's test your ears. Lesson 2 Prep. I'm going to play a series of sustained notes, and we're going to connect those notes using adjacent half steps. This oral calibration exercise is turning your ears into a ruler that can measure the inherent distance of half steps, whole steps, and skips. The two notes will be played harmonically or at the same time. I'd like you to sing along to the piano using an ah or ooh vowel as it moves between the individual notes. We'll begin with a half step, and you'll immediately notice that it sounds dissonant or jarring when played harmonically. After 2 examples of half steps, we'll move on to whole steps. For these, we'll first connect the outer notes by singing all of the half steps in between them, and then we'll sing the whole step itself. You'll notice that a sustained whole step is somewhat dissonant or jarring, but not nearly as much as the half step. Finally, we'll outline a small skip and a large skip, singing all of the half steps that exist between the outer notes. If it's a large skip, we'll need to sing a lot of half steps to get from the bottom note to the top note and vice versa. If this all sounds confusing, just watch the exercise the first time and then repeat it, singing along the second time. Lesson 2 Prep. Measuring distance in half steps. Half steps. Whole steps. A small skip. A large skip. Preparation complete. Lesson 2-1. I'll play two pitches, and you identify if they are a step or a skip. We're not going to differentiate between half steps and whole steps just yet. If the notes sound close together, it's probably a step. If they sound relatively far apart, it's probably a skip. Visualize fingers moving on an instrument when you hear these. I like to switch back and forth on what exactly it is that I'm imagining. Sometimes I visualize a piano, sometimes I visualize a guitar, sometimes I sing along to it and feel how much my voice is moving. You can throw your own instrument in there as well, but everyone needs to visualize a piano at least some of the time, because this will be your translated instrument when communicating with other well-versed musicians. Exercise 2-1. Step or skip. Answer: skip. Answer: step. Answer: step. Answer: skip. Answer: skip. Exercise complete. Lesson 2-2. Identify each example as a half step or a whole step. Use this as your guide. For half steps, ascending, they sound like the music in the movie Jaws. Descending, they sound like the first two notes of Beethoven's Für Elise or the start of a descending major scale. If you sing along, it will feel like your voice is barely moving. For whole steps, ascending, they sound like the happy birth part of Happy Birthday or the beginning of a major scale. Descending, they sound like the first two notes in Mary Had a Little Lamb. Exercise 2-2. Half step or whole step. Answer: whole step. Answer: half step. Answer: whole step. Answer: half step. Answer: half step. Exercise complete. Lesson 2-3. For the first 3 questions, I'll play a note 4 times and request that you sing a half step up from that pitch. The first 3 times, I will stay silent on the requested note. The fourth and final time, I'll play the note with you, allowing you to check your answer. For the last 3 questions, I'll ask you to sing a half step down from the given note. Sing or hum along using a neutral syllable such as ah. During the exercise, I'll display both notes on the screen to help you visualize how the notes are moving. Eventually, you need to be able to sing the second note without having to search around for it. But for now, go ahead and sing along to the first note as well. It will feel like your voice is just barely moving up or down to get to the correct pitch. A common mistake would be to overshoot the correct pitch and sing a whole step or a skip. Depending on your vocal background, this exercise could either be very easy or a big leap in difficulty compared to the previous exercises. When you reach an exercise you can't do immediately, such as this one, turn it into a positive thing. Music can be so subjective, so how great is it that you've discovered something that you can get objectively better at? With enough practice, the distance of a half step will become a part of your voice's muscle memory, and as a result, your ear will be able to immediately recognize them. Exercise 2-3. Singing half steps. Ascending. 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 Descending. 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 Exercise complete. Lesson 2-4. This is the same as the previous exercise, but with whole steps. Your voice will still feel like it's not moving up or down very much, but a whole step is actually double the distance of a half step. If you find these singing exercises to be impossibly difficult, try them at your own speed. On a keyboard, or even a virtual keyboard, play a note and sing along to it. Go back and forth, getting used to the feeling of half steps or whole steps in your voice. Exercise 2-4. Singing whole steps. Ascending. 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 Descending. 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 Exercise complete. Lesson 2-5. I'll play a short phrase and you tell me if it is mostly stepwise or mostly skipwise. If I'm trying to work out a song by ear, knowing the general contour of the melody makes a huge difference in the notes that I reach for. The following terms are pretty much exactly what they sound like. Stepwise motion is music that moves mostly in steps, also known as conjunct motion. Skipwise motion is music that moves mostly in skips, also known as disjunct motion. I'm going to generalize and say that stepwise motion is a little more common in melodies that you might know. There are countless exceptions to every rule in music, but this is still a good thing to keep in mind. Even if there are large jumps between some notes, it's uncommon to see a lot of these jumps in a row. Our ears would get worn out if a song contained relentless skips over and over and over for the entire song. For example, the first two notes in Somewhere Over the Rainbow is a very large skip, but the next 5 notes are mostly steps. Can't Help Falling in Love begins with 2 large skips in a row, but the majority of the rest of the verse consists of steps. Skipwise motion usually has notes jumping between the individual notes of a chord, also known as an arpeggio. What's a chord? What's an arpeggio? If you don't know, we'll get to it in a future lesson. For now, you can just think of skipwise motion as the thing that's not stepwise. Skipwise, or disjunct motion, can also have a bit more drama to it. Listen to the scores of John Williams and you'll hear skips all over the place. There is only a single step in the first section of the Imperial March. Ride of the Valkyries by Richard Wagner is also mostly skips. Ironically, when I play that last piece for my young students, they often insist that it's from Star Wars. It's not, but John Williams took a lot of inspiration from Wagner. The fact that 7-year-olds with untrained ears can make this connection tells me that our musical intuitions are often pretty amazing without us realizing it. Exercise 2-5. Stepwise and skipwise motion. Answer: stepwise. Answer: stepwise. Answer: skipwise. Answer: Skipwise. Answer: Stepwise. Exercise complete. If you got all of the questions right, good job. If you got them all wrong, good job. Either way, you are here because you want to be a better musician and you are taking an active role in improving. I'm probably never going to be a great circus performer, but I will never get better if I don't practice my juggling, drop a few balls along the way, and finally enroll in clown college, no matter what my wife says. The fact that you made it to the end of the video tells me that you didn't give up, so good job regardless of how many questions you got right. Unless, of course, you skipped to the end of the video to look for some kind of advice that could shortcut your hard work. In that case, eternal shame upon you and your family. Like and subscribe.